Michelle. Miss Michelle Bonahum is an amazing entrepreneur. She is the wife of a gentleman by the name of Rob, who she will share a bit more on that. And she also has 4 amazing children. So I'm going to let her take it from here.
Thank you. I'm so blessed to be a part of this today and in this team. How many of you have something in your life you're trying to overcome? Everybody should probably raise their hand, right? So I've lived a life of helping people overcome things. I'm a business coach and a leadership consultant and coach. I walk alongside of company transformations, a lot of turnarounds. I walk beside hundreds of business leaders as they're overcoming things in their lives. I even have overcome every area of my life in radical ways, but the one area of my life I just was not able to overcome was my health. And so I'm going to tell you my story. A year ago, I decided that it was time because I think everything that Susie mentioned, Dr. Susie mentioned, I was experiencing. I had diabetes, I had high blood pressure, I had an adrenal tumor, I was 315 pounds, wore a size 24W. I was on 7 medications, and I would come home from a long day of work, and I would go to bed. And I had 4 kids and a husband that wanted to do life together. And so I just realized, like, I've hit rock bottom, and it is time for me to do something about this. And I tried many times before in my life, but something just clicked in me that it was going to be really critical for my life. And so last September, I decided to kick off my health journey, and I pulled on all my head knowledge that I had because I'd been through lots of training on diet and exercise and all the things you should do. And I thought, oh, I don't think this is going to work. I've tried this before, but I set out anyways. But before I tell you about that journey, I want to tell you about the victory that I've had because, like Dr. Susie says, it's so important to start from a place of victory. And so in a year, I've gone from 350 pounds to 230 pounds. I've lost 85 pounds. I'm off all of my medications. My triglycerides, my cholesterol is normalized, but the biggest one was my triglycerides have gone from 276 to 78. I have increased energy. I outrun my kids. People constantly are telling me you're glowing, but the best part of it all are the last 3. I'm able to keep up with my kids. I'm able to go with my 9-year-old and fit in a carnival ride. I'm able to go on the airplane and not have to ask for a seatbelt extender. And all you ladies out there would probably appreciate this. I can now wear tall boots. So it's important as you're starting your journey that you start from a place of victory. Now I'm going to tell you about my story, my journey, and because I started that journey in September, little did I know that a few short weeks later, my little kids would come home and find my husband had died unexpectedly from undiagnosed heart disease at the age of 45. He was the thin one. He was the one that exercised, but he didn't eat well, and he lived a life full of anxiety. And I remember looking into the eyes of the police officer and saying, how am I going to do this? Like, I'm the one with the dresser full of medications. I'm the one that can't get out of bed because I'm tired after a long day of work. And so I decided at that moment that I needed to do this for my kids. That year, this last year, he passed away September 29th of last year. It hasn't been easy. We've navigated 4 kids, 1 of me, 4 active kids. They're all in sports, some multiple. I own a business that wasn't ready for the transition for me to have to step away and figure this all out. We had financial uncertainty because I didn't know what it was going to be like to be a single wage earner, so that added lots of stress. We've had lots of family health challenges, broken bones, concussions, cancer scares, all kinds of things that have come up. I'm an emotional eater, so anxiety would tend to draw me towards McDonald's. And we had just lots of constant bursts, things that we would never even think about. And so I had to continuously remind myself I'm coming from a place of victory. And so I think that was so awesome, Dr. Susie, that you said that, because that's really the place to start. Whatever you're facing in your life today, like, see it and envision it from a place of victory. So I'm going to tell you how I did it. So I did what I had in front of me. So as a business coach, I've been transforming companies for over 12 years. And so I said, I'm just going to use the same model that we used. And so this is just an example of that model. I'm not going to go into all of it. I'm going to just highlight some areas. But the important part about this is it's integrated, right? So anything that you want to overcome in life, you want to make sure you have an integrated plan. And for me, the first thing was really redefining my purpose. Why do I need to change? Before it used to be because I'm fat, or because I need more energy, or, well, then the some days would come in, or it's just one little piece of chocolate might come in. But my new purpose was I have to be there for my kids. Like, their dad was thin and exercised, and so I need to be there for my kids. And so to really find your why, like, why do you need to make the change that you need to make? The other critical thing that I did was I really looked at what mindsets and limiting beliefs do I have that are preventing me from change. Dr. Susie talked about one where she said, that it's not in our DNA. Well, I always had the excuse that, well, I'm wired to be fat because all of my ancestors are fat. And my son had us do a 23andMe at Christmas, and my genetic results actually came back and said I have the propensity to be smaller. So I had to reverse those lies. And then I just needed to say, what are the best practices? And so you'll hear a lot of those best practices today. So listen to those, because don't recreate the wheel. Like, start with what are the best practices you can do to carry that out. And then what skills do I need to master? What type of diet do I need to master that's right for me? How do I need to master exercise? How do I need to master being mindful? Those were all kind of the skills that I really worked on mastering. And then the biggest thing is the platform, to form a team. And Rev was a huge part of my team. They were actually the quarterback for my team. Kelly as my wellness coach, and Dr. Susie as my functional medicine director, I suppose you'd call it, doctor. But I also had others on my team. I have a personal trainer, I have a therapist, I have a business and life coach, and for me, my faith is important, so I had a prayer team praying for us through all this. And so really make sure you see what are those resources. And Dr. Susie's going to talk about a boot camp that's coming up to kind of help kick it off. I highly recommend you find things like that where you can go through this journey with other people, no matter what it is in your life that you're trying to overcome. And then finally, how are you going to measure your results? For me, it was through setting 90-day challenges and setting goals with my friends and relying on some of the biometrics that Rev provided for me to be able to know, because a lot of times when you have 150 pounds to lose, it can be overwhelming, right? So I needed to see what are those things inside, what was the root system that was being created that was going to make that change sustainable. So really what I've learned over the last year, my journey is only half over. I've got about 65 more pounds to lose, but as you can see, I'm at a place of victory, and I'm really standing at the top of the mountain, and I am a role model for my kids. My kids have changed how they eat, they've changed how they live, and we have a lot of fun together. And so I just encourage you to think, what is that one step that you take today? What's that one nugget you can take away as these two are sharing the tips and tools for you? And even if it isn't your diet, like, how can you take those tips and tools and apply it to whatever that obstacle is in your life? So thank you.